Well, folks, summer is starting, but still grab your jackets, pick up your mittens, and put on whatever sort of coat you need, because Hades hath frozen over. Folks, look out. Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, met with Donald Trump, Orange Man Bad, El Trumpo Extraordinaire, in the Oval Office. We've got the details right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we are busy on a Friday evening because it never stops. The news doesn't, and neither do we. Jonas J. Campbell, investigative reporter, is here with us. Jonas, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. They tried to pull a sneaky on us, didn't they? But we found it. We saw it. We were watching. That's
right. Folks, take a look at this. Out of that Park Place, click the like button. Trump, that's right, the Orange Man Bad, praises Disney's Abu Dhabi Park after Bob Iger presented the plans to him personally in the Oval Office. This is by Marvin Montanaro. If you're not yet bookmarked to that Park Place, well, you should be. President Donald Trump is throwing surprising support behind Disney's new theme park in Abu Dhabi, praising the project during a trade summit in the UAE and revealing that Disney CEO Bob Iger, hopefully he didn't bring a hippo, personally presented the plans to him recently in the Oval Office. Says Disney, I see their new theme park is going to be incredible, Trump said. Bob Iger was in my office the other day and he was showing it to me and it's going to be incredible. Jonas, I think it's required at this point that if we read a Donald Trump quote, we have to do it in the Donald Trump voice. So let me get
I think that's it's the law.
It is. Congress may not be passing anything, but that they'll pass. Disney, I see the new theme park is going to be incredible. Bob Iger was in my office the other day. He was showing it to me. It's going to be incredible. Greatest theme park ever. That I can tell you. You don't want to build a wall around this thing because people are going to be climbing in to get in there. He didn't say all that, but he could have. He could have. Jonas, the reason this is so fascinating is because we thought that Disney was, they're stonewall cold against Donald Trump. Turns out maybe not. Bob Iger acquiescing, meeting him in the Oval Office. Jonas, we've got an article out of Forbes. Can you bring that up, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Right here we have it. Caroline Reed saying Trump congratulates Disney's Bob Iger on Abu Dhabi theme park.
That's right. We want to give a big shout out to Caroline Reed because she had the scoop on this out of Forbes. Jonas, go down just a bit and let's read out of that. You take this over for Forbes, and then we'll get into meat and potatoes and explain what's really going on.
Alrighty. President Donald Trump has praised Disney's plan for its upcoming theme park in Abu Dhabi, which he says were personally presented to him in the Oval Office by the media giant's chief executive, Bob Iger.
Hit that third paragraph, Jonas. Let's hit the third paragraph.
Trump is famous for his close ties to the Middle East and has made the most of them. His comments about Disney come at the end of a week-long trade mission to the Middle East, which has seen him secure $200 billion of deals in the UAE alone. That's United Arab Emirates, for those of you following along at home. They include a $14.5 billion commitment for local flag carrier Etihad Airways, forgive me on the pronunciation, to buy 28 Boeing aircraft in a $60 billion partnership between the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company and American energy companies, including ExxonMobil.
Two more paragraphs and we're done. Two more paragraphs, Jonas.
Trump's admiration for the region has managed to cool tensions that have been boiling with Disney for a number of years. Since his first term in office began in 2017, Trump has repeatedly described Disney's ABC network as a fake news outlet and is famously close to self-made billionaire Ike Perlmutter, who unsuccessfully led a stockholder revolt at Disney last year before selling his shares of the company. He got out of Disney because they went woke. He didn't want woke Donald Duck, Donald Trump said in an event in December last year at his Mar-a-Lago estate.
Wait a minute, Jonas. You broke the law. We just went over this. Why are you acting criminally? Do it right.
I generally speaking, I don't do a Donald Trump impression. Why don't you do one for me here?
No. Listen, I'll get your attorney. I'm sure Ron will be cheap on this one. Folks, in case you're wondering why this is big news, that Bob Iger showed up at the Oval Office, let me show you. It was not so long ago that El Trumpo was not happy with Bobo. In fact, we're talking about days ago. Look at this, out of The Independent, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Baragona May 12th, 4 days ago, Trump fumes at ABC fake news reporter for pressing him on pricey Qatar plane gift. You should be embarrassed. Here's what he had to say.
And you should know better because you've been embarrassed enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you? Why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why not?
It's only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question.
We don't have to go farther. We don't have to go farther. Folks, Trump was just destroying ABC, which is a big part of Disney, calling them ABC fake news after Bob Iger was in the Oval Office, because the timeline means that in order for Bob Iger to have been in the Oval Office, he had to have been there before the Middle Eastern trip. He had to have talked to Trump about this Abu Dhabi resort pickup. And Jonas, here's what's fascinating to me. I want people to understand this. I think that what's happening here is that Bob Iger, though he wanted to be president himself of the United States of America, not just his yachts and his hippos, Bob Iger wanted to be POTUS. He is never going to be POTUS. Bob Iger, though, is more than just a political creature. He is a money man, and he is a marketing guy, and he wants his legacy secured. I think, and you tell me what you think about this, Jonas, I don't think for a second that Trump has backed down. I don't think for a second that Trump is trying to cool tensions with Disney. This is 100% Disney recognizing and Bob Iger recognizing that the political landscape has changed and they need to get along with Orange Man Bad. And I'll make one last point, Jonas, and then you run with this. 5 years ago, if a Disney CEO had, folks, think about it if it had been Bob Chapek, for example. If they had gone into the Oval Office with Trump and made any kind of agreement, had any kind of pleasant conversation, every division of Disney, except for Walt Disney World, would have seen their employees marching in the streets, would have seen mass protests. Lucasfilm would have emptied out. Marvel would have seen people lifting signs on the sidewalks. Pixar would have been throwing, well, we won't tell what incendiary device, but Pixar would have lost their minds. Instead, Jonas, this time there's nothing. Bob Iger went into the very den of the Orange Man. He walked into the Oval Office. He exchanged pleasantries while Trump continues to do what Trump does. Disney, I think, is acquiescing. What say you?
I think you're absolutely correct. I'll also throw in here, first of all, I think there's two parties involved here. Actually, there's a third party we'll talk about in the second part here. Bob Iger needs Donald Trump to go easy on him, and he could make it very hard on him, generally speaking, across the board. And Bob Iger is an ABC News guy, and I don't think that Trump will ever not try to look like he's an antagonist to the news, because they're an antagonist to him. ABC News, the only thing they have at this moment is covering Trump, and they're definitely not going to cover him favorably. They'll stop getting invited to the cocktail parties if they cover Trump favorably. Not that they would ever do that. The other thing is the Donald Trump side. Well, Donald Trump is fine to praise people who come and bend the knee. This is why he was nice to Rocket Man over there. He publicly praised him on one or two items, because that's how he does when he is in negotiations or in some kind of talks with somebody. He speaks positively when he can, when he's trying to get something positive for him out of those people. In this case, I think that he was being very nice to the Maral Group, which is the basically the tourism arm of the United Arab Emirates government.
Right, it's basically the government.
Right, so
it's really close to being the government.
He's being nice to his Arab friends over there, as opposed to really being nice to Bob. I think he is blessing the deal more than he is actually saying, "Great job, Bob." Here.
Now, wait a minute, Jonas. The way that I'm understanding you're suggesting that this is a full-blown Bob Iger surrender to the politics of the day. Like, Iger knows he's got to raise the white flag. He's got to stop the TDS, at least in the C-suite. Remember, CFOs, Mr. Johnston himself, Johnston, recently said that they're happy to work with Trump on Hollywood issues. They're happy to work when it works. So I sense a sea change inside Disney. I don't believe that every division has flushed out all the wokeness. They just got rid of gendered language on, with Disneyland's new nighttime parade. So I don't believe for a second that they're completely free of what they've been up to. But I think that Bob Iger, he at least, and maybe the top executives get this, they can't keep fighting against this guy. There's no guarantee that elections go their way anytime soon. The new media has taken over, and they're not the big player they once were. They try to pretend that they are, but Bob Iger and company over there, they used to be the kings of the box office, the kings of the networks, the king of the news, and now they lose to YouTube, and it's not even close. Disney Plus, everything's going streaming, and Disney Plus is nowhere close to either YouTube or Netflix, and they're never going to be. And that means that they're sort of secondary players in entertainment. Theme parks, that's the last area that they dominate. They may not for much longer. And I got a feeling that, they've kissed the ring. They've bowed the knee. Maybe I'm going too far. What say you?
No, I think you're probably right. The YouTube thing is they're losing space. We're even hearing comments from Dana Walden talking about, I don't know why people say that YouTube is our enemy. Well, if you follow the ratings, yes, YouTube definitely is your enemy because we're realistic. If Netflix is your enemy, yes, we saw those slides from Mason Morfitt over there at Value Act. You view Netflix as the enemy. There's no reason that you wouldn't also think that YouTube is the enemy at the same time. You're taking this too far.
You take this to every time we have you on here. You go too far, sir. Seriously, back it down. You're saying to me that when they tell us that YouTube is not necessarily their competitor, but is their friend, and when they say that Epic Universe is just it's like a gift basket from Universal Studios. It's going to lift Disney World attendance. You're telling me that they're not being totally honest with us.
The only instance in which it would hurt the parks is if they hosted the Olympics at Epic Universe. That's
right. Oh, Jonas, you come through in the clutch, sir. And Bob Iger does too. He clutches his pearls and he meets with the Orange Man in the Oval Office. Final question for you, Jonas, as we watch what's happening, and we don't know the ramifications yet. We don't know if him being cozied up now with POTUS will change the trajectory of the company. I guarantee you, Donald Trump is still good friends with Ike Perlmutter and not Bob Iger. So I don't know how this all plays out, but my question, Jonas, is now that this is out there, we saw the level of viciousness, vitriol, and venom out of all the various parts of Disney when Bob Chapek just said, you know what, we're not getting involved in this Florida political thing about when parents, are informed about stuff at school. If Bob Iger goes into the den itself, I mean, these people believe he just entered the bowels of hell. So if Bob Iger does that, how are the Disney employees going to respond now? Will we hear a single peep out of Pixar? Will Lucasfilm be screeching so that the heavens can hear them over the weekend? What's going to happen?
So if I could just recount this here, and there's a rumor going around that Bob Iger vetoed the idea of a Saudi Arabian park, that, Saudi Arabia is a problem. Of course, Shanghai, not a problem. Please, years to make that happen. United Arab Emirates, not a problem. But Saudi Arabia, no, that's a problem. So they approve a park in a place that is not friendly to the issues that Bob Iger has waved the flag for.
Yeah, they're not happy about that.
Not the American flag. And he also has the approval of Donald Trump, and he has this meeting that he had to have with Donald Trump to just present the plans beforehand, just to let him know, hey, Donald, you're going to love this one. Here you go. There's a lot for those people who are not worried about the best financial interests of the company. There's a lot for them to be upset about right now. I would say, especially with the way things went at Pixar, where they had to actively remove elements out of that film. They made Pete Docter the bottleneck to say, nope, yoink, we're taking that flag out. Yoink, we're taking that alluring look between two characters out. I think that there's a lot to be bemoaning if we were on that side of the aisle.
Now, I want to say, Jonas, this has really confused the cupcakers, the pixie dusters, the big Disney fans out there, the Disney adults. They're really, really confused because, as you can see here, the Disney employees aren't saying anything. They're quiet. So the true believers don't understand what the heck's going on. The Mountain King says it's confirmed the Imagineer behind Disney Abu Dhabi, also known as Disney Sand Resort, is a man of alphabet persuasion. I wish the best for all the creatives involved, but it's crazy that the Walt Disney Company is sending their rainbow talent people to a country that wishes them actual demise. Yeah, we adjusted some of that, folks. You can see Zach Ridley is, I guess, one of the lead Imagineers going over there. The Disney fanatics, they can't understand it, Jonas. They don't know what's happening. They don't know they've been put in the attic. The C-suite never believed any of this stuff. It's always been business. It's always been financial. It's always been money, 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 money. And they thought after the Summer of Love, they had a plan to get money, 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 money. And now they're shifting the plan because money, money, money is all that matters. And they weren't getting enough money, money, money. Do I have that right, Jonas? Is that right?
Yeah. And I'll also point out that the United Arab Emirates and the people who are in charge of Yas Island, Morale, they're also interested in money, and they want foreign tourists coming in there and dropping lots of money. So Zach Ridley is going to be perfectly safe over there. They're not going to risk an international incident and let any harm come to this high-ranking Disney Imagineering executive here. I've spoken to some sources connected with Yas that you'd be surprised at what is allowed within those parks. I'll tell you, it's illegal for Muslims to drink in the United Arab Emirates, or at least on Yas Island, but it's not illegal for tourists to drink over
Jonas,
there.
let me see if I've got it. Let me see if I've, you tell me if I got the philosophy right on this.
Yeah.
You can drop your Benjamins, just don't drop your drawers.
Well, at least make sure the door's closed is what I'm hearing. So, okay, I'll give you, for instance, this Disney park that's going to be right next to the Warner Brothers park that's out there. They've got a Harley Quinn walking around, and someone that I've spoken to that's been in there was asking a Yas source, okay, well, how do you have Harley Quinn walking around in there in this costume with so much, it's so revealing? And he said, look again, she's completely covered from head to toe in the areas that looked like they had skin exposed. No, that's actually covered. So they're within the law there. The rules are the rules, and Disney will have to follow the rules, but the rules are also very clear. So there's no accidentally going into the wrong area here. So there's a lot here where, nobody's going to have to go wear a burqa in order to go into this park. American female tourists will be able to, within reason, be able to go in there wearing the same things that they maybe not the exact same things they wear in America. I'm remembering my last trip to a Disney park, but
Ariel may not keep the seashells. It may be maybe turtle shells.
If she's wearing the seashells, she will also have a skin suit, a skin tight suit covering everything as well.
There you go. All right, folks, that's the story here. Bob Iger and Disney, they're going to follow the rules over there in the UAE. They're also going to follow Orange Man Bad, and they're glad to do so if it makes them money. And for those of you out there who ever thought they had principles or they were driven to the point of, absolute full-blown conviction on their politics, nah, sorry. That's an eviction you need to make to your thought processes because it's all about the Benjamins, baby. Folks, we're all about the likes. Not really. We're about the truth with a capital T, but we sure do like likes. And we'd like for you to like this. So, hey, let's all like it together. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on all of this. Folks, it's Friday. Get out there and have a good time. Jonas, what's your weekend plans? You going to grab your snorkel?
Oh, I've got some big things in the works that I'm not prepared to talk about on the channel, but y'all need to wish me luck. I think there's some big things that'll be happening maybe here in some other channels in our orbit here that you might be excited about in the future.
It's definitely a lucky snorkel. He's got his lucky snorkel. All right, folks, grab your lucky snorkels. We'll catch you real soon. In the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Okay, all right. I need you to right there, here? Right there. Okay,
wait, what's gonna happen?
Don't move. Okay, don't move. Okay. Well, I need to ask you some questions for practice.
Whatever, fine.
Okay, all right, here. Okay, questions. Okay. Dear Diary, I stand trembling in the sacred hallow of democracy, the briefing room, with the smell of history and body odor lingering and pressing upon my shoulders. My trusty pen is quivering like a knight's sword before...
What's your question?
Well, that's rather rude, not letting reporters ask their questions.
You were grandstanding.
Okay, whatever. If a Florida man broke into Disney riding a wild manatee, would Secret Service team up with Donald to stop him? Or just play it on TikTok for the views?
Trump or duck?
Dang it. Touche.